and welcome to the Asylum. This is our third attempt at talking about Asylum movies. This time we're talking about an absolute masterpiece called Megafault, which, contrary to popular belief, is not about President Trump.
It came out in 2009.
Yeah, see?
And no, he was still talking by then. Actually, he's always been talking ever since we were children. Came out in 2009, and this is a mockbuster of 2012, we think. It's possible that it's 2012. It came out around that time, and it stars Brittany Murphy in her last role, Eric LaSalle, and Bruce Davison. And it's directed by David Michael Latt, who, let's see if anyone has any mercy for him with other things. Nope, he directs this type of movie. Got it. This was the last movie he directed, though.
Oh, well,
he did produce. After this, though, he did produce everything from Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus to the movie we saw last week, Mega Python versus Gatoroid, Princess and the Pony.
Was also a fantastic film.
Dragon Crusaders, Amityville Haunting, 11-11-11. He's produced a lot of these. He just doesn't direct them anymore.
11-11-11, also a masterpiece. I haven't seen it, but I saw its sequel. Thank you.
So, this movie, well, I guess the basic plot would be Eric LaSalle plays Boomer, who is a minor demolitionist.
Minor is in like the people that
he mines, not a miner.
Is in less than
yes.
8. And he's an explosive.
No, miners, not miners.
Yeah. So he's an explosive expert miner, not minor, whose name is creatively
Boomer.
Because he blows shit up.
And so they do a mining that's apparently in West Virginia. I missed that, even though this movie I tells you where everything is all the time. I don't believe it half the time.
With that fantastic
freeze frame,
just generic typing font that they use.
That freezes the frame in a weird out of focus way. But basically he's setting off detonations in West Virginia and somehow creates a giant earthquake, exposing a deep seismic fault that kills kills his entire crew. Somehow buries him as well in his vehicle. But he survives. And this sets off an earthquake in DC where Brittany Murphy is doing a presentation with her boss, Bruce Davison, and about earthquakes.
I don't know if he was her boss or her mentor. It wasn't
something
really clear how that relationship really worked. They're involved in a non-sexual way, professionally.
But they're together for a presentation. Earthquake happens, and of course, earthquake expert's family all gets underneath the tables while everyone else is dumb and forgot the memo and wanted to die. And this creates the slowest moving earthquake I've ever heard of in my life. Being that earthquakes can be felt for hundreds and hundreds of miles, this one slowly travels. They can fly in a helicopter quicker than the earthquake moves.
But granted, apparently it's a level 7, which I don't think
7.0. We've been in bigger. We've been in bigger than that ourselves.
Yeah, they just said it's a level 7, which doesn't is that a level 7 on the Richter scale? Is that a level 7 on some other non-existent scale? They don't really explain what they talking about.
Because we grew up in Alaska where we had earthquakes. We had it took at least a 6 to wake me up at night if the thing was shaking. Yeah. But we did have that one that was on a Sunday afternoon that was a 7.9 and cracked the highway and one lady broke an arm. That's all it did.
We were there for a 9 if I remember correctly.
Not a 9, no. The 7.9 was the really big one on a weekend, and then in December a couple years ago when I wasn't there was the one that broke all the power to the valley for a while. That was an 8.2.
That was the one that had the aftershocks for months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the biggest one we had was like a 7.9. It had like 6 something. It had a bunch of pre-shocks and aftershocks. But this one, so basically, an earthquake happens in DC, and then they say this is going to create a fault that's going to cause an earthquake that's going to cross the whole U.S. in 24 hours, and then like split the world in half. And so then they go to this military installation that apparently has an earthquake creating weapon that they were aiming at Russians or something, so that we could create earthquakes in other countries and not be blamed for it. That they want to aim at this earthquake to create another earthquake to stop the earthquake.
Which is like the worst logic I have ever heard in my life. That's up there with the not the Titanic, the Godzilla movie, where their solution for stopping the radiation monsters was to shoot them with nuclear weapons. Like same concept. Like why?
I thought you were gonna say it's up there with the you throw an explosive into a tornado.
That's more logical. I'm sorry. Like that one makes more sense to me than we have an earthquake. So let's start another earthquake. Genius.
And then this earthquake sets off another earthquake, which instead of going east to west is going north to south and is going to hit the mega volcano in Yellowstone. And this earthquake moves even slower, apparently. And to stop this, they have to create another Grand Canyon by basically blowing up a whole ton of mines in Wyoming to create a Grand Canyon so that these two plates don't hit each other and cause an earthquake. And that'll save the day.
Yeah, because like they said something like the earthquakes will collide and then they'll move toward the Grand Canyon and that'll stop it.
And the Grand Canyon will stop it because it's two plates that are separate anyway. It's not quite how it works, but
yeah, and then it doesn't go in that direction. Instead, it goes toward Yellowstone, and then that causes random people in one town,
just
this one town. Not, I don't think they tell us what town it is. Just in this one random town.
It wasn't Vale, because Vale's the one that, even though it looks just like it, is the one that gets covered with an avalanche, right?
Yes.
Even though it looks exactly the same as this other town that's in Wyoming.
Yes. Wyoming.
Yeah, they spontaneously combust, then melt, but the town doesn't. The wooden town's fine, but all the people just burn up alive.
Oh, yeah. And the special effects were glorious.
Perfect. I like it how their earthquake effects look just like broken wall. Like they got an ice breaking effect, and they use it for earthquakes.
It's just these like perfectly cut, jagged lines, and then there's no like sand or anything that's going into them. They're just like this gap.
One thing that people don't know is, people do know it, but earthquakes, when you have an earthquake, one of the ways the ground moves is like water. It's like the ocean. You have waves. When there was a 9.2 in Alaska, there's pictures of like 8-foot waves that go up and down. It's not just like crack that moves. The earthquake is it's a big area. And it moves. It doesn't always move up and down like a wave, but it doesn't just like crack in a line across the country that they could track through cities when it's like setting up gas lines. And then like, of course, the one guy's mom's house just happens to explode and burn her alive in front of him. The fire effects, I'll say, were okay, but the explosive effects, like the puffs of smoke, were pretty terrible. The dust effects were pretty bad. Very bad.
I mean, it's on par probably with Sharknado as far as the special effects. Like,
yeah,
not what you expect.
Now, I will say one thing about this movie that keeps it from being the worst thing is at least the 3 lead actors at least know how to act, and I think they're all very aware of what movie they're in. But like, at least Eric LaSalle and Brittany Murphy and Bruce Davison are better than anything in Battle Star Wars.
Yeah, so far of the 3 movies we've watched for this, Battle Star Wars was definitely the worst. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be hard to be worse than Battle Star Wars. Just saying.
Yeah,
that was Brittany Murphy looked very unhealthy though.
She does. She looks rough. Not surprising that she died after this movie because she did not look like she was doing great.
Yeah, she has very sunken eyes. Let's see if I can have a picture that actually
I mean, you might be able to see her if you duck.
That's not the best picture
Nah,
though.
that's all right.
But she's very sunken, even when she's supposed to be like dolled up. Oh, I can share this one. This'll show you this some of this isn't her, but this is some of the amazing effects. Look at that. Look at that.
Look at it.
That's an explosion.
Just look at it. When I see something like that, I just want to look at it.
There's Boomer. Oh, there's the cover again. What is this photo? This is a still you want to show?
This is from when the explosion happened at the beginning, I think.
Well, I know what it is. Like, is this what you'd really want to use as a promotional photo?
Evidently it is.
Or this? Or a tire? Like, this one makes sense. Also, okay. So one thing when I was seeing this the first time that I messaged you, I was like, these military people are definitely into regulations. As in, most of them have like giant glasses that I'm pretty sure they would not let you run an Air Force base if you had that bad of vision.
Well, I mean,
let alone weight regulations and their uniforms that sure looked real. And
they were uniforms.
They were uniforms. That's not the right uniforms or Air Force.
You still can't really see her super well in this picture, but you can see like her eyes look real sunken in that photo.
But the military ones, so somehow have a military earthquake weapon at this random base in what was that in Wyoming? No, Wyoming was the other base that randomly exploded.
Kansas. Yeah.
And then the Wyoming one just randomly exploded, like a fireball just comes out of the middle of it because that happens. I also love it how they refer to her as that FEMA person, and she's not the FEMA person, but throughout the entire movie, they then refer to her as the FEMA person. Like in one script, she was supposed to be a FEMA person.
She corrects them a couple of times, and then she just gives up.
But it's like at one time she was supposed to be a FEMA person, not a scientist. But it's not like FEMA would be there that fast. It's all in one day. FEMA doesn't move that fast. It takes like 4 or 5 days for FEMA to get there.
That's a great promotional still right there. Really, really, shows what you're going to see.
Well, I will say this scene though is amazing because what happens is they take a military Osprey, right? Osprey, and stop it in front of this motorhome, which is moving because they're going to shoot the earthquake weapon right there, and the motorhome's going into the zone, and she won't let them die. And so they stop right there, and these kids get out of the motorhome, and the parents do, and they just pick up the kids and start running. And the parents are like, "What the heck are you doing?
What are you doing?"
And then they just ran after their children, who these random people came on an Osprey, picked up their children and ran with them. And then they have to fly away from the earthquake weapon that's launching from space to create an earthquake right there that almost sets off a super volcano. Oh, look, there's her husband.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful shot too of a truck. Also, I have to say this truck right here is amazing because he can't stop. I was like, oh, they're going to go speed on us. They're going to go a mock-up of speed because this truck can't stop because it might explode. But at the same time, it's on fire and full of gas. So I don't understand how that won't explode. Oh, like this one, you can tell kind of there she's sunken.
Yeah, she's not looking great.
But I will say the movie wasn't boring.
It wasn't. No, it was definitely watchable.
And it was 90 minutes long. It didn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah, it was.
It literally just ended.
It does just end. And you don't get the drawn out ending like we kind of got in the Gatoroid
one. Yeah.
Yeah. With Gatoroid, that movie just kind of felt like they didn't know how they wanted to end the movie. So just kind of stretched a bit and then finally ended with that absolutely amazing memorial.
We have a visitor.
Whereas, oh hey, you have a cute co-host today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're frozen. You frozen on your side too?
Okay. Am I frozen?
Not anymore. You were for a second.
Okay. But yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't overstay its welcome. It told a story that, as long as you don't know anything about, if you know literally nothing about seismology, it's probably all right.
I'd say it's just as plausible as half of the nonsense they tell you in the movie 2012. It just doesn't have the budget to be the disaster porn that movie is. It wants to be, but it definitely does not have it, and they don't try. But I will say, acting wise, it's actually probably better than last week than Megapython versus Gatoroid acting wise.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this one had like legit.
It didn't have a chick fight in it to try to keep us entertained.
Yeah, but that chick fight was amazing. But no, this one had legit actors in it. It had Brittany Murphy, like we said. It had, I already forgot his name.
Eric LaSalle.
Yeah, that one. And then her boss or whatever that guy was, he's somebody who's seen a lot of stuff. Even her boyfriend looked familiar. I don't know what I've seen him in before, but he looked familiar.
Let's see. That is Justin Hartley. He's Oliver Queen, Green Arrow in Smallville.
Yeah, see, there you go.
He's also in the show Revenge, and he's the main character in This Is Us.
Yeah, so definitely Smallville is where I recognize him from.
And he did Smallville right after this.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh, he was also supposed to be Aquaman in the Smallville spin-off Aquaman. Like they did like a pilot for it, then never aired it, and then never did it again, anything else.
They weren't going to use the Aquaman that was in the Smallville episode?
Well, see, they originally cast. Who did they? Yeah, he's Arthur Curry.
I thought you said he was the Green Arrow.
No, he's Arthur Curry in the Aquaman spin-off that was supposed to come from Smallville, but then they canceled it, and then they made him Oliver Queen.
But there was Aquaman in Smallville.
Yeah, I think that it's because the spin-off did really badly that they just got rid of everything involved in it.
I thought they had done the Aquaman episode. They were kind of feeler to see if there would be an interest in it. And
I don't know well enough to be able to decide, but there's a lot of weird stuff in this movie. There's even like the whole apparently her family goes through everything, like even their house gets destroyed, not everything around the house. Their daughter stays very clean throughout this movie. And but I was entertained. Killian is playing with Captain Marvel.
I think that the acting was better in this one than the other two movies by far. I said Megapython versus Gatoroid was probably a more entertaining film than this.
Probably because it was more so bad it was awesome. But I will say the effects in this one were less distracting than the snakes and gators that don't move.
Them either don't move or move perfectly in unison with each other.
In the same looping animation.
But don't actually move closer.
Yes, and how they, giant things can sneak up on you without, making any noise.
Oh, I mean, we learned that from Jurassic Island, though.
Of course. Yes, my Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. Hi, Captain Marvel.
So would you recommend people watch this movie? Like this was on Tubi.
Yes.
And there's apparently a special director's cut, which I am morbidly interested in knowing what they added.
It is Morbin time, according to the internet.
Yeah. Did you see the petition that said we were busy that weekend, please put it in theaters a third time? Yeah, it's like 15,000 signatures.
I still haven't seen it. I don't know that I'm going to. I haven't decided yet.
It'll be on Stars or something soon.
That's true. I guess I can just watch it on Stars. I was watching. I got caught up on Kenobi, and I was watching Chippendale right before my wife died.
I want to see Stars, but this movie's on Tubi. It's not terrible. It was apparently filmed in Davenport, Iowa. All of it. No wonder it all looks like Colorado, Wyoming, DC,
Yeah, right.
and you know, at least they didn't try showing it as California.
Yeah, at least I wonder everything looked exactly the same. Strange.
They had a budget of $1.2 million. Interesting.
Yeah, so for this movie, I mean, if you're really bored, I'd say watch it. Like I said, I found Mega Python versus Gatoroid to be more entertaining, due to the it's so bad it's good sort of thing. Where this movie's not, it's not bad, but it's also not good. It's just like, and so you know, who wants to watch a mediocre film, you know? So if bored, I would say you should watch it. If you're, there's so much other stuff on the internet to watch though that I wouldn't fault you or mega fault you for not watching this.
So I actually found on the trivia section, it said every military vehicle in this movie was 15 to 20 years out of date for some reason, which is weird because all the aircraft were modern. Also, all the military personnel are dressed in Army surplus uniforms. No name badges, ranks, or even branch designation. Only macro pattern camo.
That's a legal thing. Even movies
Without
that
permission.
have permission, right, for military stuff, their uniforms have to be in some way, shape, or form not identical.
Same with police and so on. But like with Michael Bay, for example, you know he's going to have an actual Humvee. Well, this movie, when they call it a Humvee, did you notice that was a truck? That was not a Humvee. But I say this is worth watching if you're bored. It's not the worst. I think it was fairly easy for me to get through. 90 minutes is just about fine. It wasn't painful. I didn't have to pause it and be like, blah. I didn't, you know, I wasn't that. I had to do that for Battlestar Wars. So I say so far, this is 2 for 2 that I would recommend watching. It's not, I wouldn't say it's trashy fun like Mega Python versus Gatoroid. That was trashy fun. Yeah, we did not have Brittany Murphy. I mean, chick. I don't think there's any like girls in this movie beyond her daughter, who's like 8. No, I guess there was the mom in the hick van. I mean,
there's the random. There were a couple of random military members that were women. That was
also at Top Secret military facility. They just let a civilian into, like Boomer. Like I understand letting her in there.
Yeah,
because she was presenting at DC.
At some point, somebody's like, "Who are you?" She's like, "Oh, he's Boomer," and they just were like, "Right," and they just rolled with it. And it's like,
Also, for taking only 24 hours, people get to locations pretty dang fast.
True.
Also, like how they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get you out of DC. We're gonna put you on a military cargo plane." Because, you know, there's no other ways to get people out of DC other than a military cargo plane. No private jet, nothing. And of course, the government's never involved.
Never, no.
Nor do they know about the weapon they're going to fire on, you know, their own country. But Megafault's fine. It just kind of sad that this is the last thing Brittany Murphy did, especially, you know, considering the trajectory her career was on at the time.
Yeah, right?
Killian, stop that. That's a battery. What are you doing with that? Where did you get my credit card? I don't want to know.
Well, at least it wasn't assault with that battery.
Be careful. They're going to have like a movie called Salt on Precinct 12. There's going to be someone protecting them from vampires with salt. But on that note, let's look what we have to subject ourselves to next. It could be worse. It could be better. Can you see the wheel?
I do.
Okay, here we go.
Wheel of movies. Turn, turn, turn. Tell us the movie that we should watch. I'll come up with something. War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds 2, the next wave. It's not even the first one that we're going to have to watch. We're watching the next wave. When the War of the Worlds 2 come out? Let me see.
Well, I'm excited. I seem to remember seeing this one like at the movie store right before War of the Worlds came out with Tom Cruise. I'm pretty sure.
No, that was the first one. This is a sequel to that one. This one came out in 2008. It's 2 years later. They must probably return with cold medication this time.
No, just get some Mucinex, come back.
Apparently stars someone named Murray Sawchuk, Jonathan Levitt, Thomas Howell, and Kim Little. Who is Murray Sawchuk? Murray Sawchuk was on America's Got Talent. Oh, he's on Glow. That's how I know who that is. Oh, he's the magic expert on Pawn Stars. Got it. The guy they bring in whenever they need, the Vegas magician who they bring in whenever they need a magic person. And then Jonathan Levitt he's on Flash Forward. Apparently he was on Incredible Burt Wonderstone, but not anyone we know. And Now You See Me. Thomas Howell, the lead. Oh, I know this guy from somewhere. The Hitcher. Oh, he's in The Hitcher. And he was in Red Dawn. And he's in Walking Dead. Criminal Minds. Not a lead in Criminal Minds. He was the Reaper in Criminal Minds. So the villain in one of the seasons. So that's encouraging. He's also in The Punisher. Ray Donovan. So, okay, at least these are actual actors again. Kim Little was in...
These are actual actors, but this movie was made long before some of the stuff these guys are in.
Well, don't worry. There's one of these actors who's the top thing they show on is Last Sharknado. It's About Time. Cowgirl.
Well, but, at least it's a good Sharknado.
I'd say the insane one, yeah. But yeah, so next time we're gonna have War of the Worlds 2, the next wave. But Megafault, I don't think any of us found it at Megafault for that much. Goodbye, folks.